The label said lifetime guarantee. The salesperson said it'll never break. But then it breaks. The seller claims, hey, that was just marketing. So is this legally binding? Are these it'll never break, lifetime guarantee? Are these binding promises? Or is it just kind of puffery? In this video, we're going to break down and discuss what is called an express warranty and how they are created. So an express warranty by definition is a promise that is oral or written and included in an agreement under which the promiser assures the quality, description, and performance of the goods. There are three ways an express warranty arises. The first is an affirmation or promise of fact by the seller. Two, we can have goods that must conform to a description. There's a description, maybe it's written on the box. And three, that the goods conform to any sample or model. So maybe a salesperson shows you an example of the product. That would be a sample or a model. An express warranty arises when there is an affirmation or a promise. And that is that the goods conform to a specific fact, right? The affirmation or the promise is of a fact. So we have to ask, can the statement that the seller makes to a buyer about the goods be proven true or false? Or is it just an opinion or sales puffery, as it's called? So some examples of a factual statement. These drill bits will easily penetrate stainless steel. Well, we can give it a try, and if it works, well, we've proven it true, right? If it doesn't work, we've proven it false. This car will accelerate from 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. Again, something else that we can prove true or false. Examples of opinion. This car is fast, right? This good is worth a fortune, or this particular item is worth a fortune. These are opinions. Factual statements give rise to an express warranty, and opinions or puffery do not. If a seller makes a statement that relates to value or worth of the goods, or makes a statement of opinion or recommendation about the goods, we're not going to have an express warranty. So another example, these TVs are excellent and unsurpassed. When is a statement an affirmation of fact? Well, a statement's more likely to be an affirmation of fact and then create an express warranty if, one, we've already discussed, it is specific and can be proven true or false. Also, when defects are not obvious. If a used car salesman tells you that a car is rust-free when the driver's door is pockmarked with rust, you should not take that statement seriously, right? A court won't take that statement seriously. If it's written, if we have something that's written, an oral promise can be created as an express warranty. But nonetheless, if it's in writing, that's going to be taken more serious than something that's oral. Where the seller has greater expertise. If the seller knows more than the buyer, that seller's statements will be more influential with the buyer and the court. So for example, if your architect assures that the new porch will be structurally sound, the law will recognize that you will naturally rely on that expert opinion. Another example of an expert opinion, Vincent, the art dealer and expert in 17th century paintings, tells Lacey that a painting is a Rembrandt, and she buys it. Later she learns that it's not. Was an express warranty created? It sure was, because Vincent has warranted the accuracy of his opinion. So our rule is that if the seller is an expert and gives an opinion as an expert, the warranty can be created. Ruby is a salesperson for Miller Hardware. Ruby makes a statement that a ladder will never break and will last a lifetime. Does this statement create an express warranty? And courts, when they're looking at this statement and putting themselves in the buyer's position, they are going to ask, would a reasonable objective buyer rely on these statements? Statements so improbable that no reasonable buyer should rely on them, no warranty is going to be created. So if Ruby is, let's say, a high school student who has a job at a hardware store and is selling ladders, right? They say, oh, this will never break, this will last a lifetime. Don't think we're going to put that person in an expert category, and it wouldn't be reasonable to rely on those statements. But maybe Ruby is a ladder expert, only sells ladders in the hardware store. It's known for their ladders. Maybe we can argue that that representation created an expressed warranty. But it's all going to hinge on reasonableness. What would a reasonable, objective buyer do with those statements? An express warranty can arise when the goods conform to any description. So what's the description say? Wherever words appear, if they describe the goods as having characteristics or qualities, an express warranty has probably been created. So we have a crate, and the crate says contains 1 diesel engine. Well, it better be a 1 diesel engine. This product met some safety test. Enter your safety test name there, and it must live up to that if we have a product that says that in their description. Sample or model. Showing a sample or a model can create an express warranty. Of course, seeing a sample of your goods can be an effective way of demonstrating the quality of goods, especially to a customer, right? I like always seeing a sample. However, a seller who uses a sample is generally warranting that the merchandise sold is going to be just like that sample or model. So for example, we have Howard, who sells sports equipment. He shows Joe sample baseballs. Joe orders 100 of them. The balls that are delivered to Joe must conform to the samples. An express warranty is a material term of a sales contract. We can find express warranties in advertisements or brochures, written right in the contract, or even a salesperson's promise. So buyer contracts to purchase a stated quality of number 2 milling wheat from the seller. And the question is an express warranty part of the deal? Yes, it's made right in that description. There's a warranty that what is delivered will in fact be number 2 milling wheat. How does a court determine what is covered by a given description? Again, there's always going to be a test. And again, it's the reasonable person in the buyer's position. So what would a reasonable person in buyer's position buying in that particular market would expect to be delivered when a contract is made under the description? So going back to the wheat example, as the buyer and any reasonable buyer in that position, if I ordered quality number 2 milling wheat, that's what's expected by the description, and a reasonable person would expect that too. No formal words are needed to create an express warranty. Words like I warrant or I guarantee, nor does the seller have to intend to make a warranty. They can do it accidentally. The only thing that we need is one of those 3 that we've discussed as being the basis for the bargain. So an affirmation of fact, words in a description or describing the product, or showing a model or a sample. So what do we mean by basis of the bargain? Well, there's no definition in the UCC. Basis of the bargain is determined on a case-by-case basis. The court's going to look at the circumstances, but what we're really going to look at, a court's really going to look at, is the seller's conduct. Their conduct must have been part of that basis for the bargain. And again, another test that the court uses, whether a representation was made at such a time and in such a way that it induced the buyer to enter the contract. Did you buy those tennis balls based on being shown that model? Was that the inducing factor? So up next, we're going to talk about warranties that are implied.